Welcome to the Fright Lab. I'm Lucas Yoakum, and this is the 20th entry into our 31 Days of Halloween, 31 Days of Horror, 31 for 31 challenge. Tonight, we are talking about 1973 BBC production, specifically The Stone Tape. So, what is The Stone Tape? Well, there's the plot, and let's get that out of the way now. An audio recording and experimenting company moves into a British manor house that was built upon Saxon ruins. And there's something very spooky going on here. There's screaming, there's rattling, there's a ghost. And of course there would be a ghost, a BBC teleplay from the 1970s. We'll get there in a second. And so the audio recording company starts wondering if there's something going on in this house that they could be, well, capitalizing on, learning about, maybe making a new recording medium from. But the question quickly becomes apparent. Who is recording who here? In the 1970s, starting around then, as best as I can tell anyway, I am not an expert on this subject, like I am not an expert in most things, the BBC starts putting out these sort of teleplays, these televised, sometimes short films-ish that are very theatrical, and something that they fall very quickly into, and they do a pretty astonishing job of, horror stories, specifically stories of the paranormal, stories of ghosts. Now, the idea of the scary ghost story associated with Christmas is a very British thing, and it is so much so that there's actually a short series of BBC teleplays called Ghost Stories for Christmas. A few of them are the few that I've seen, they're pretty cool. And they're all on Shudder, plus you can find them all over YouTube. I'm sure the BBC has links for them. I haven't had a chance to look, actually. For what it's worth, this tradition of British paranormal storytelling is actually really fascinating, and one that I'm hoping to look forward into. I might, coming around the holidays, do something similar to what we're doing here. More on that as it develops, or if it develops. We'll see. You guys know how I am. So, The Stone Tape. Does it work? Like, is it an effective piece of horror? It is very dated. It is from the 1970s. Boy, howdy, does it look like it. The Stone Tape is not a modern film and was clearly working on a budget. But rather like my feeling about the VHS series, something that I'm very impressed with this whole British teleplay ghost story thing, is what they accomplished with so little. It cannot be understated how bad the economy was and social conditions were in England at that time. They were really operating with whatever they could for as long as they could, and it was only going to get worse ultimately. So what you end up seeing is a lot of really inventive filmmaking and a lot of really inventive risks being taken. The Stone Tape looks kind of like, I don't know, almost it almost looks like a soap opera from America in the 1970s or 1980s. It has a certain camera quality that, frankly, I don't fully understand, but I find it weirdly refreshing. It's something I actually really enjoy, shockingly so. The acting is mostly pretty good. It is very theatrical, so it's a little overblown. It wouldn't look out of the realm if it were in the 70s on a stage somewhere. You know, again, teleplay is a very realistic term there. One of the things that's so interesting about this movie, though, is what it kind of predicts. So along with the tradition of ghost stories in England, there's also this wonderful tradition of what they call psychical research. And that's basically what it sounds like. It is parapsychology in this approach of looking for the truth of ESP, ghosts, clairvoyance, all that kind of stuff. It's a little Fortean and it's a little out there, but it is a deep part of British intellectual tradition. Now, I'm fairly agnostic on those subjects. I don't know that I've ever encountered a ghost, much less a recording of a ghost anywhere, but it is what it is. And for what it's worth, it's cool to see them talking about this. But one of the things I especially love about the Stone Tape is that it kind of predicts things like the Ghostbusters. It kind of predicts ghost hunting shows as we have them today. I think that that's really refreshing, and it makes me want to understand this stuff a little bit more and wish I were independently wealthy and had a lot of free time that I could go headfirst into an insane subject like this. Now, not everything about the Stone tape is great. There are some problems, and that is that it was the 1970s in England. Like, one of the recurring themes throughout this is that this little audio recording company is getting their teeth kicked in by the Japanese in the technology market. Now, in a way, the film in the screenplay is responding to a very real thing that was happening in a lot of the world. The monster of Japanese tech that would become a thing so ubiquitous in the 80s and 90s was beginning to really spin up around then. And as a result, there's some weird and almost out of place kind of anti-Japanese slurs and behavior. It's jarring and it's not a lot of fun, but it almost makes sense in the way that old-timey racism kind of makes sense. It's not good. It took me out of the story a little bit, but it is there and it is jarring. And I gotta wonder how audiences felt about it then. Now, one of the other things about this script, and it's kind of my final thought about the Stone tape as a story, is that it is shockingly human and shockingly thoughtful, all of the aforementioned anti-Japanese sentiment aside. It's kind of a heady movie in a way. It's not just nuts and bolts ghost hunting where they're trying to find the source of the problem and stop it and be the heroes. There's a lot of discussion of, well, why is this ghost? What is this ghost? What are we doing? And I don't know that a similar show produced in America in the 1970s would have taken such a tack. And I am definitely not convinced that a mainstream endeavor would do that now in any meaningful way, or in a way that seems as real and genuine and almost incidental to the plot of the Stone tape. Like, it's not a big point that's made, but it is something that impacts the show. I don't know. I think horror audiences are really quite lucky that stuff like the Stone tape or films like Penda's Fen have really surfaced to us now, and we're able to see them because they are so smart and they are so interesting. Again, I haven't seen the whole canon of it, but what I've seen of it is very insightful and very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to some point in the nearish future making a deeper dive into this. And as a result, I guess you guys, my beloved siblings, will be getting a deeper dive at some point on the Fright Lab into this subject. So what I want to ask then is this: is the Stone tape, have you seen it? Did you enjoy it? And what other BBC teleplays and horror should I be looking at? I'm a total novice when it comes to BBC TV, BBC programming. So if there's some cool paranormal thing I've missed other than Doctor Who, guys, I'm going to go on the record and say I just don't get Doctor Who. I don't understand. And if you like it, cool. Like what you like and don't let me tell you otherwise. But I just do not understand Doctor Who in the slightest. So if you have some other paranormal recommendation that's not Doctor Who, you should maybe, I don't know, reach out and let us know by contacting us at thefrightlabpodcast@gmail.com. We can also be found on all the major social media platforms, as well as YouTube and Discord. And I was recently reminded that we have a Letterboxd, and I have totally ignored it. I'm sorry. I am paying penance for my sins on that one because I really do like Letterboxd, and it's a shame that I've ignored it as much as I have. Right. So with that in mind, I think you should stop this episode and go watch the Stone tape or some other spooky movie, because it's that time of year, and it's my favorite time of year, and it's rapidly passing us by. So in the meantime, I want you to remember your dear friends here at the Fright Lab, and that's me, Lucas Yoakum. I write and research all of these episodes. Joe Wren is most of the time my co-host, just not for the shorter episodes, apparently. And he is also the producer who makes this show sound as good as it sounds. We appreciate each and every one of you guys, and we will talk to you all soon. Go enjoy your October.